Hello, I'm Burton Klein here on CCPTV, the educational channel of Community College of Philadelphia. Today, wonderful viewers, we're going to talk about something that plagues each and every one of us. S-T-R-E-S-S. I won't insult you by doing it, but I shall. Stress. And you know, we all tend to think that stress is only in these times. What was Twitter and tweet and Facebook and emails, but stress has been as long as there has been life. Folks, Aristophanes, the Greek writer, the satirical writer, lived from 480 BC to 340 BC. And Aristophanes wrote a play, a satirical play, satire. And the play was Lysistrata, spelled two ways, Lysistrata or Listrata. Lysistrata. And Lysistrata, wonderful people, is the name of a Greek woman. And Lysistrata personifies all women of Greece in that era when Aristophanes wrote this play of satire. What was the stress at that time? Well before Christ. Well, Aristophanes made sure that the women of Greece, represented by Lysistrata, whether spelled with a Y or spelled with an I, that when the men came home from war, why war, the women of Greece felt, they would not consummate their love with the men. They would not do that because the Peloponnesian War, and I don't know who did what in that war, and that's irrelevant now. That's not my purpose. But the purpose is to tell you stress, wars, way back from before the life of Aristophanes. What I just stated was factual. But now something not factual. A hypothetical situation, if I may. Dad and Mom and Jason are going on a cruise. And one day, Dad, Tom, comes into where Nanny is, and Nanny's been with the family for about 30 years. And Tom says, Nanny, you know you've never cruised with Jason and Rosa and me before, but we're going to have a wonderful, wonderful time. But may I just give you some final pointers? Pack about 20 pair of slacks of Jason. You know, he's 11 years old now, and he likes to change a lot. Pack his Nintendo game and his iPod, and oh, you know what to do, Nanny. We're looking forward to the cruise. And sure enough, Tom the dad and Jason the son, Rosa the mother, and Nanny go on this cruise. And one day at the dinner table, Tom the dad says to Jason in front of Nanny Sarah and in front of his son, you know, I want to teach you, Jason, what poorness is. So tomorrow, son, when we go off in port, I'm going to show you what poorness is. Okay, said Jason. And the next day, sure enough, they went off into port. Nanny Sarah and Mom Rosa, they did napkin folding or line dancing or something on the ship. But father and son went off into port. Came back that night to dinner table. And Mommy Rosa said, son, what did you learn today? Oh, he said, Mom, you know, at home in Radnor, we have 6.5 acres. We have 3 swimming pools. We have 8 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms. And Dad wanted to show me what poorness is. Well, I found out something today. Where we went, they had 10,000 miles of lush green. At our house, we have 36 lamps, but they had the moon and the stars and the sun and the bright sky. We have the pools. They had the oceans. Daddy, thank you for proving how poor we are. How does that relate to stress, ladies and gentlemen? Viewers of Community College Television. It's this way. People have different points of view. The father thought he was going to show the son poorness, but to the son, after all he saw, the S-O-N, son, not the S-U-N. He then realized that we are the poor people, not the people we saw today. Another example of something, and this is not a hypothetical thing, this is true. You'll recall the movie A Beautiful Mind. It was about Professor John Nash from Princeton University. Yes, it was. Professor Nash, what a professor he was. And one thought that one was watching the campus of Princeton University in Princeton, New Jersey. But things aren't always as they seem. You can Google what I'm going to say. You can check me out. A Beautiful Mind 2001 was filmed at Manhattan College, looking like the campus of Princeton University. Things aren't always the way they seem. Stress is created by that. Stress is created by the different point of view, father and son. Stress is created by the women of Greece, represented by Liz Estrada, not wanting to consummate the love with their loved ones when they came home from the Peloponnesian War. Ladies and gentlemen, bear with me. I'm now going to be going this way and that way and this way and that way. And my college students realize there's a statement always used in my classrooms. And that is, if I may, it all ties in. So shortly this will all come together, I hope. And let's start now with some specificities regarding stress. You know, stress has a lot to do with our heritage, does it not? And I'm not knocking wonderful parents of the world. But parents, as you saw in the hypothetical situation I gave you some minutes ago, have different views than the younger children that they bring into the world. So stress is sometimes created by a parent, thinks a child, and you'll hear more documentation to that effect a little later on. When I was young, and what's the difference of what happened to me when I was young? We never had sweet butter in our house. Sweet butter cost more than salty butter. So I only got used to salty butter, never had sweet butter. And that caused some stress when I went out sometimes to other people's houses and they had sweet butter and I wouldn't eat it because I didn't know the taste of it. A minor thing. But it's what's around us that creates stress. And then there's this thing, to use the vernacular, to speak generically, which is called the juices in our body, the various fluids in our body, according to what pills we take, or according to what we do or don't do, according to whether we eat salty butter, which is not as good and as safe as eating plain butter. Do we drink a lot of soda pop? And you hear all the research about soda now, that one shouldn't do this and shouldn't do that related to soda. All the juices congeal in the body. And indeed, doctors will tell one that that causes stress. The same stress they had back in the time of Aristophanes. But you know, there's some things one can do to relieve stress, and I'm going to hold up a brochure. And this brochure can change your life. You won't be able to read it, but here it is. And it's a brochure of a group called the Bumper T, the letter T, Caring Clowns. Folks, a man named George Edwards, he's no longer with us. He passed away in 2011. George Edwards was a man of philanthropy, was a man of kindness. And one day, just over 30 years ago, George Edwards walked into a hospital in our area. It was Abington Hospital, Abington, Pennsylvania. And George Edwards says, you know, I want to make patients happy. I know what to do to make them happy. Well, the nurses talked to him and some doctors talked to him. And, well, Mrs. Jones cannot laugh because she has a condition that would erupt if she were to laugh. And Mrs. Jones can't do this. And I suggest you not say that because it might affect her mentally. Shall I make a long story short? Please, you say. The Bumper T Caring Clowns are now in 28 hospitals in Philadelphia and environs. Who becomes a member of the Bumper T Caring Clowns? Anyone who wishes. Folks, if you want to become a Bumper T Caring Clown, you can pull that up on a computer, or you can go to Abington Hospital or Cooper Hospital, 2 hospitals where they operate, and find out, how do I become a Bumper T Caring Clown? I don't know how I got that name. When I did research on George Edwards, I never could find out. Can't find out on the computer. Can't find out by going to a hospital. Where did they get the name Bumper T Caring Clowns? But how does this deal with stress? Your stress. You want to relieve some of that stress? Apply to become a Bumper T Caring Clown. Because when they go to hospitals, they just don't put on funny outfits and big red noses and big pants and crazy jackets. They meet with the doctors. They meet with the nurses. They have a meeting room where they meet with the doctors and nurses. They discuss each patient, what one can do in the room, what one cannot do. The Bumper T Caring Clowns. And if you were to interview the Bumper T Caring Clowns themselves, and I don't know how many there are of them now, each one will tell you something. I told you it would all tie in. What would they tell you? It helps relieve their stress. The stress of the person acting as a Bumper T Caring Clown. Look into it. It's one thing that can relieve this world of stress. And I'm holding up a book now. I'm going to tell you the title of the book. It's called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. It's only small stuff. It was written by someone named Richard Carlson. And I'm just going to, if I may read, some of the things from the table of contents of the book, because it deals with how one relieves stress. Excuse me as I read, viewers of Community College Channel. Set aside quiet time every day. Imagine people in your life as tiny infants and as 100-year-old adults. Seek first to understand. This is the table of contents. There's a chapter dealing with each of these things. Become a better listener. Choose your battles wisely. Become aware of your moods and don't allow yourself to be fooled by the low ones. Life is a test. It's only a test. Practice random acts of kindness. See the innocence. Create patience. Let others be right most of the time. Let others have the glory. Allow yourself to be bored. Once a week, write a heartfelt letter, and so the chapters go on. Don't sweat the small stuff, says author Richard Carlson, Carlson. And then there was a land title magazine that came out. Well, the magazine is an important magazine in American culture and maybe worldwide culture anyway. It's Forbes magazine. And in 1999, Forbes came out with an article dealing solely with stress. As a matter of fact, the whole year 1999, Forbes magazine dealt with stress at some time during the year. And Forbes magazine said in one particular issue, I don't remember the month of 1999, you want to relieve stress? As the Bumper Clowns volunteer, and they don't get paid, by the way, they just get satisfaction and relief of stress. The Forbes magazine in 1999 said, volunteer. Go into a library and volunteer. Go into a school and say to the principal, I want to meet with the teacher and I want to be an assistant to the teacher. I'll do anything that has to be done in the classroom. Forbes magazine, 1999. Don't take a warm bath. Take a hot bath. Luxuriate in that bath. Lie back with a nice book or the newspaper. Let the world pass by. A warm bath. And then something that doesn't sound too nice. Forbes magazine said sometimes we must relieve our stress by doing something about something that bothers us. And you know what Forbes magazine said in 1999? This landmark article? Write a nasty letter. If there's something that's bothering you, let it out in writing. And you want to know something. It goes on to say, with research, how that makes one feel better. Relieves something called STRESS. It also says something that we don't do enough of. Sometimes it costs a couple dollars, but it's worth it, is it not? Schedule fun. Go to that movie. Go to that theater in Philadelphia. Go to see the Phillies win some ball games. Go to see new coach Chip Kelly lead the Eagles on to a glorious season. Schedule fun, it says. But then the magazine also goes on to say, don't be afraid to cry. If you're a man, don't hold back. Don't bite your lip. If something's getting to you, let it out. Cry once in a while. What else does the magazine say? Forbes magazine? Unplug the doggone phone. Take it off the hook. Phone calls are driving you nuts. Take off the message machine so when you go away somewhere, you don't come back to a litany of messages. Unplug the phone. And then it says man's best friend. Get a pet. That pet can become your best friend indeed. Enjoy the pet. And the last thing that magazine said that really people find hard to do. In my previous positions, I had to many times do this. It's not pleasant. Hopefully, the right decision was always made. And that is, say no. One can't say yes to everything, can one? So just like it says sometimes do that nasty letter, correlative to that, sometimes say N-O. But wait a minute. Some more literature. The Delaware Valley Wellness Center. It's to use the term again, a landmark place. You can check out the Delaware Valley Wellness Center. And the year 2009, they said the following things will certainly reduce one's stress. One is appreciate music. Learn to appreciate it. At a previous lecture, I mentioned some songstresses. I mentioned Beyonce and Shania Twain and Taylor Swift and Taylor Dane and Pat Benatar and Adele and Jordan Sparks. If you like soft rock, play it. Enjoy it. I play B101 all day long, driving the car. It's relaxing. If you like to hear, and I mentioned him earlier too, Andrea Bocelli singing on PBS Public Television, another channel. You'll come back to this one for sure, I know, after that. You watch an opera. You watch classical music, but learn to appreciate music. And then besides appreciating music, the Delaware Valley Center says, Wellness Center, look once in a while at some things that you have done in your life. Appreciate yourself. You don't have to literally take your hand and pat yourself, but my goodness, be thankful for what you've done. It will help to relieve stress. Yes, it will. And then it says something that's easy for all of us to do. As you can see by this lecture, and you're wondering what I'm talking about, the Delaware Valley Center or Wellness Center or Awareness Center, that's irrelevant. It says daydream. Daydream at least 20 minutes per day. Not when you're driving now. Not when you're watching CCPTV. But daydream. It's good for the mind. Yes, it is. You know, a lot of us hate jokesters. People, oh my, here comes a joke again. The people in this room who are filming today, I've been hounding them with my jokes for the last several times I've been here. And they've been saying in their mind, they're too nice enough to say it out loud, oh, here it comes again. But the Delaware Valley Wellness Center says, share a joke. Delaware Valley Wellness Center also says, audit a course. What does auditing a course mean? One can contact a wonderful, highly ranked community college in America called Community College of Philadelphia. What does one have to do? One can find out to audit a course. What's auditing a course mean? You attend the lectures. You don't have to take the tests. You don't have that pressure which might cause stress, but you attend the classes. Find out what one has to do to audit classes at community college or any college. One can audit classes at Harvard or at Penn or Yale or the aforementioned Princeton, anywhere one wants. But do it. It's learning. It's helping to relieve stress. And then there's something they say to do in this Delaware Valley Wellness Center. Be crazy once in a while. Does that mean going out and eating a banana split that's 1,350 calories when you shouldn't do it? It might. Does it mean going to 3 movies in one day? It might. Does it mean going to an Eagles game in the afternoon and catching the Sixers right across the way at night? It might. It says, be a little crazy. Do things off the wall. It helps to relieve stress. And then something else. People don't do this. Compliment people every day. But not false compliments. If you're the type of person who goes up to someone, oh, Harry, I like your tie. Oh, Mary, your dress is beautiful. Barbara, when did you get that hairdo? Latanya, are they new glasses you're wearing? Then they go, oh, my goodness, this person's paying compliments because they're seeking stroking in return. They want a compliment in return. Oh, yes, Burton, your tie looks nice today, or whatever. The Delaware Valley, whatever the center's name is, and I don't mean to speak nastily about that wonderful establishment, says compliment people sometimes. Get in the mix. Smile. Don't sweat the small stuff. Richard Johnson says you're walking down the street in the morning. You're rushing to catch the train at Reading Terminal. Look the stranger in the eye and say, good morning. The snow won't be as bad as they say, will it? Engage yourself with people. But folks, there's a da-da. There's a da-da at the end of all this. I'm not ready for the end yet, unfortunately for you. There is one thing that relieves stress more than any of the things I've mentioned. One thing. We're going to get to it in a moment. But first I have to read you some quotes from various doctors throughout the world related to stress before we get to the drum roll, before we get to da-da, the one thing that really takes away the stress and can increase your life. Bear with these quotes from the doctors first. Bear with these quotes, some do's and don'ts, and some other things. Here we go. Dr. Sheldon Miller, Northwestern University. Exhaustion is the body crying out. And it's crying out saying, I've had it. Dr. Juliet Shore from Harvard University mentioned just moments ago. The overworked American is not in hours of work. The hours don't mean anything. It's the hours of mental duress, much caused by the deadliness of technology. Am I anti-technology? No. Can it cause stress? Yes. How can it cause stress? You go away somewhere and you get some emails. You don't access your emails when you're away for 4 or 5 days. Person calls you when you get home. How come you didn't answer my email? What's the matter with you? It causes stress, does it not? How come you didn't answer your phone messages? Technology. Here's another doctor. Parents start the stress of children. I said that at the outset, did I not? And your parents sometimes, again, to use the word, start your stress. That's Dr. Jean Omdrasuk, the Scripps Hospital, La Jolla, California. Just a couple more. Dr. Joseph Kirsner, Kirsner, University of Chicago. Quote, Some are lucky enough to recognize that their lives are spinning out of control before it's too late to die of a heart attack or a stroke. How poignant, hit you right between the eyes. And the ultimate stress danger signs from Dr. Mary Hager, University of Michigan, the lovely town of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Prolonged exhaustion, insomnia, lack of appetite, indigestion, inability to concentrate, feeling of losing control, loss of sexual desires. Dr. Dean Ornish, Preventive Medicine Research Institute, Sausalito, California. Quote, "We can't change others." Quote, "We can't change family heritage." Quote, "We can change ourselves." Are you ready now for the Dada feature? Is there a drum roll? Is a band playing for the ultimate thing that one can do to reduce stress? And also it means that I'm getting done speaking to you so you can turn me off once and for all. And what is that thing? Daily exercise. Daily exercise releases endorphins in the body. It's a morphine-like substance which helps one to relax. If one exercises every day, and let us say one is 60 years old and with a doctor's knowledge and going over what one can do exercise-wise and what one cannot do, exercise every day from someone 60 years old can increase one's life, research shows, from 7 to 12 years beyond whatever that 60-year-old was going to live. Exercise. Dada. Better than all the other things that I mentioned before. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I want to thank you for joining us today on CCPTV, the educational channel, Community College of Philadelphia. Hope you'll join us next time. Bye-bye.